Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Glam Life podcast. My name is Victoria Rocca. You might know me as Victoria Glam if you follow me over on Instagram, and where you really should be following me if you want business tips and tricks for your PMU marketing business. I would say follow me on YouTube at the Microblading Institute. We do coach on skill set there, but boy, do we coach on marketing. Today, I have a very, very special guest. She's very special because not only is she an influential permanent makeup educator with students who take her lessons all over the United States, the UK, and Europe, and Canada. But also, she is one of my very best friends. Hi, Katie. Katie Schofield, everybody.
Hi, and I'm so glad that you pronounced it correctly.
Schofield. I love her. I love her. Inside jokes. So, you guys, Katie and I met during pandemic time. We were both locked away in little rooms doing very different things. I was coaching beauty businesses and she was working on her own business and working very hard. And I had just had a baby and she didn't mind me showing up to every meeting in sweats with big blankets, snuggling a baby or just being exhausted and having my 18th cup of coffee for the day. So we actually invented this thing called Blanket Club, where we would both show up to the meeting with different blankets and surprise each other with what blanket we had today. Listen, COVID was a weird time for everybody, but this does feel a little bit like Blanket Club. Like we had a date on a Zoom call, just the two of us to talk about business.
We did. I remember the one time you were like, I can't wait for Blanket Club this week. And then you turned up with one that was like a dog blanket covering your entire face. And I remember just logging on and just losing it. And still, it's one of my favorite COVID memories.
I saw it last night when I was looking through all of those old stories on Instagram for the last like 8 years. I was making this YouTube video last night, you guys, that kind of tells how I got into permanent makeup and then what moves I made in the industry to get me where I am today. It's like, it's not that long. It's like maybe 10 minutes, but it's got pictures and videos for every little step that I'm talking about. I went and pulled them from my Instagram. And one of the ones that I saw was the Blanket Club one where I had that sack over my head with a dog face. So funny. And I remember I logged on to Facebook afterward and you had tagged me in it. Posted
Yeah,
it
oh
everywhere.
yeah, I posted that shit everywhere. There was like if you're funny, like for me, you're going everywhere. Just FYI.
I love that. So Katie, I am going to be sharing my story on how I got into permanent makeup and how I kind of built this business for myself. But I really want people to know your story. I feel like mine is so typical. I was a mom and I wanted to own my time. So I left my 9 to 5 and I got into the beauty industry. And then my beauty industry, yes, I've taken it to heights a lot of people don't reach, but the story of getting there is pretty typical, right? Like I had a business falling out with someone. I started my own thing. I didn't mean to own a business, accidental entrepreneur, built it up, and then things happened for me because I made a lot of the right moves and I invested in a lot of the right, education. But you came from a very different world altogether. You left home really young, and then you've been kind of carving your own path every step of the way. Take me through a little bit of the Katie origin story.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I feel like very different. I don't feel very represented in the world of permanent makeup. And I felt that when I joined it, I had to kind of be someone else. And as I've got older, I feel like I'm definitely settling into just being much more myself. So I left home very young. I was a punk rocker in Manchester. I went and lived in a squat first off.
Explain what that is.
Do you have what a squat? It's like an illegal house where you like where you would stay where you're not supposed to be, like
A
flats and things.
bando.
Yeah, so I was a bit of a squatter, and then I actually went and left to go and be like an eco warrior. Do you have those?
What is an eco warrior?
Like an eco warrior. So like the people that are fighting for the planet.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you would like
Hippies.
protest against rose things. And so I went and lived in one of these low impact living organizations where we
Like a
had
yurt?
Huh? No, I had like a trailer, but I had like I like everything was composted and like your water went through reed bed filtration
Oh,
and we had
yeah.
our own electricity and
Like a
it was
hippie compound.
it was a hippie compound and I was there for 2 years
How many
and
people live there?
maybe 30 or
How
so.
did you deal with that?
Really easily. And you know what? When I look back at that time of my life, I think it's a time of my life that I'm really glad I had for several reasons. The first reason was I was incredibly poor. So I had
Right.
absolutely no money because we were growing things. And, if I wanted to watch telly, we had to pray for it to be sunny for the solar panel. I'm not even joking. So because of that, I think it really hardened me to
Wait, stop. I'm stuck there. Oh man, it's a beautiful day. Maybe we should watch some television.
It's like it's a sunny day, Love Island tonight. But that hardened me to it made me understand the value of how things work, and how wasteful people are. It also taught me the value of knowing how to be really poor. So I think that later on in life, I mean, you know me because you work with me. I'm motivated by success, but not so much by money. I mean, I've got really nice things. I'm surrounded by nice things, but it's not my primary motivation. And in COVID, I think that really helped me because I could go back to going, oh my God, I must be really poor again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. But I knew how to do it because I'd done it so well. But actually, when I look back at that time, it's something that I look back on with a lot of fondness. It was a really good time and everyone that knew me at the time always talks about that place with, like, we've all got rose tinted glasses. We forget that we had to like shovel snow and wee on the gas tank to defrost it and all.
Not squatting over the gas tank. I have a similar experience in my background. Everybody knows I was an exotic dancer all through college, and I am still friends with the girls that I worked with, which is highly unusual for a strip club. Like most of that time, it's transactional, right? Like people come in, they make their money and they leave. They're not there to make friends, and they're certainly not making lifelong friends. Those might be the friends that they partied and did drugs with or something and they're 20, and then as a mature adult and they're married, they kind of want to put that on the back burner and not think about it or talk about it. And so they're certainly not hanging out with that person. That was not the case for the club that I worked at. There was a couple of circumstances that made that club a little different than other people. But it's kind of the same thing. Like we were in the dirt, a lot of people didn't respect us very much. It's an alternative lifestyle at that time. And to look back on it, I'm so glad you said with rose tinted glasses, because I do look back on that as such a fun time in my life and so fondly. And it taught me a lot of things about business. Now, it didn't teach me to be poor. I was very rich when I was a dancer. I was the richest person in my friend group for sure. But it taught me how to take it on the chin. So when people talk shit on social media, I couldn't give a shit. Somebody left me a 1-star review and said I was mean, and I started telling people yeah, I'm not even that nice. Google me. Like I take it on the chin. I really couldn't care. And it taught me a whole lot about sales and making connections with people. So I love the idea that you look back on a time that some people would say like, wow, you didn't have electricity, you were dirt poor, there was nothing for you to fall back on. You look back on it fondly and with lessons learned. And that's really important in business, because if your mindset is always one of what did I learn from this, you're always going to be learning. So
Yeah.
how did you wind up leaving the yurt compound?
Because I started working for myself and earning more money, and because
While you were there?
I was nursing at the time, and yeah, that's when I started getting into sort of photography. I
You're
modeled
a nurse?
back in the day, yeah, like ages ago.
We are best friends for 30 years and you never told me that you're a nurse?
Yeah, well, that's what I left school and did when I
I
was.
knew you were a masseuse. I knew you were a fetish model. I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
that you have autism, but I
yeah.
didn't know you were a fucking nurse.
This is why I'm so particular on people's cleanliness. Because the other day I was watching this ad came up, and it's all over my Facebook, and it's someone promoting themselves tattooing with a fucking watch on. And I'm like, take your watch off. You're going to
I'm
be just
guilty of
spreading
that.
hepatitis. I don't care if it's a Rolex. Take your watch off.
Okay, I saw that. I saw that with the Rolex. I am guilty of that. I wear my Apple Watch so that if the school calls or something, I know. And I know that that's not a good enough excuse. I need to wrap it or
I
something.
just wrap it. I just wrap my, because I have my Garmin thinks of, this is my lifeline to everything, but I just wrap it.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. Just stick some cling wrap and you can still see who's calling you.
And I think nobody ever thinks about it, Nobody ever talks about the watch on your hand, on your arm. They're like, well, you're wearing gloves. Good for you,
No,
Katie.
I
Okay,
do.
so I'm sorry, I interrupted you. So you
But I
were
think, yeah.
working, you
Yeah,
were
I was
working.
nursing at the time and I got accepted to do nursing at university, but I was also then starting modeling, and that was loads of money. I
Yeah.
just went, yeah, I don't think I want to do nursing. That's like full of poo and pee.
And you're grossed out by poop and pee. So
Well, just like I can just make
how
more
did
money.
you get
So
how did you get into fetish modeling?
I think I was already sort of attracted to the aesthetic of it when I was young, very attracted to the aesthetic from a young age. I kind of still am. And it's always the thing that people want to talk about with me, but it's kind of the thing that I'm least interested in now. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm done that. I've still got the rubber clothes downstairs, but it's like, it was, again, it was less interesting than people think. I made it. I made a lot of money. So again, that taught me to be rich. And it also taught me to work for myself. So I haven't worked for anyone else for 25 years. That's the last time I worked for anyone else. So.
That's not true.
I was a contractor.
That's not true. No, that is, yeah, technically you're a contractor. So you've done now how many years in permanent makeup?
9, I think.
How'd you
And
get started?
I had a beauty business. So I started in beauty. So beauty and more holistic things. And then I just loved eyebrows. I think I've always loved eyebrows. And I would love combing them and setting them, but you don't make any money, waxing some
Right.
eyebrows. And so it just allowed me to do the thing that I loved the most and actually start building a business from it. And I had a moment the other day and I literally live messaged you on my entire plane journey to come and see you. I got the Wi-Fi and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember when I trained thinking, this could be big for me. I could maybe travel. Imagine sitting on a plane, drinking champagne, going to America. And I'm like, hey guys.
I'm first class drinking champs on my way to Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, it happened. You made it happen. So
You made
yeah,
it happen. You
I
did.
did. I
And
did.
all really, this business in earnest started taking off when you started showing up for your business regularly in your room where you tattoo with your dog on
Mhm.
camera. She doesn't tattoo with her dog. It's a joke. It's an inside joke. But you
I'm happy
showed
to
up a
make that.
whole
I'm
lot.
happy to make that an outside joke though, because like literally
Oh, go
that's
ahead.
that's what happens when it was you. You said this to me. You said, first come the copycats, next come the haters. That's when you know you're doing well. First come the copycats. And do you remember when someone ripped off my entire YouTube and put their logo bouncing around my head? She
Why
actually
would I
put,
remember that?
she put her own logo. So she took my YouTube. And then
Katie, I forget how old I am. Why would I remember?
well, anyway,
I
somebody ripped
story
off.
everything. So tell me the story because I don't know what you're talking about.
So somebody ripped off my entire YouTube and she was Persian and she translated it all to Persian, but she took my logo off and put her own logo on my head.
I own you.
I own it. And honestly, and I found her Instagram and she had loads of followers and they were all going, Master, you are so insightful with this knowledge.
You
Thank
thought
you
you were
for
back in fetish modeling, huh? Master.
yeah, I was like, bitch, I'm the master.
I know
Get
I'm
this shit off here.
That is wild.
And I remember you, so I had it all removed, and I
What did
remember
I tell you to do?
everyone was furious. Mary Richardson's going, sew the bitch, sew her, like that. And I just remember you in a sea of everyone going, that's outrageous, that's disgusting. You went, you got your first copycat. Next come the haters. And
Ooh.
and that was the one thing is someone had tried to have me close down by saying I tattoo in my bedroom with a dog.
Poor Gracie. She's just trying to live her life.
She's a terrible assistant. She can't hold the pause. Hold the needle.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so fun. No, that is true though, right? Like actually first comes the encouragement. And those are the snakes. So the first people when you start a business who come to you and say like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm really proud of you. I'm so excited for you." Some of them are genuine and some of them are snakes. Some of them are just waiting to see if they can get anything out of it or if you're going to fail. So they want to be close to you to know when you fail. They want to hear about it. They're going to be almost too involved. People that you're not that close with suddenly are like all up in your shit. Then, so I guess the haters are there the whole time, right? Then as you start doing well, some of the people who genuinely were happy for you are like, okay, that's kind of the completion of the story for me. She's doing well. She started a business. She's doing well. That's great. And every once in a while, when they run into you, they say, how's your business doing? That's amazing. I'm really proud of you. Those snakes start getting angry though. They don't
Mhm.
like that you're not failing. People like you to do well, but not better than them, especially
Mhm.
if you come from the same place. You know, your favorite, Lil Boosie, said, I can't live in Baton Rouge because you can't live rich around the same people you were poor with. You can't do it. So he has to live in Atlanta. That's what he says. It's kind of the same ideology. You have to be careful who you complain and bitch with because some of those people are not going to be happy when you're not complaining and bitching. Misery
Mhm.
loves company, as they say. Then come the copycats. People who say, well, if she's doing it, I know I can do it. You know, she's fucking stupid, so I can do it. I'm smart. And then if it doesn't work out, that's when they become haters. Oh man, are they haters? They'll start telling people all kind of shit about you, hoping that people will find you less desirable and attractive because of what they're telling them. But in actuality, what it makes you look like when you're complaining about somebody who's winning is like you look jealous and bitter.
Yeah, and
So
these things come full circle. And it was Carla, wasn't it, said on your podcast, never interrupt your enemies while they're busy destroying themselves. And I've just I know who said that, and it was my biggest encourager.
oh yeah. See, it
Yep,
always is. It
snake.
always is. The person who was so sure you're going to do great at this, you should totally do it. They were waiting for you to fail. And then when you didn't fail, they were really mad because I love when a plan goes according to plan. But when the plan fails, I'm not happy when my plans fail. Are you? So
No,
she wasn't planning on you doing really well. She wasn't
no.
planning on you coming to America first class, sipping champagne.
Yeah, sucks, doesn't it?
Taryn Darling had a similar experience, and she talked about it on my podcast. Taryn was saying that, you know, it was her and this girl. They didn't work together. They weren't partners, but they worked alongside one another. And Taryn had this great idea for her very long color theory class. And it was going to be done like in person, but online. So live for like 8 hours. And the girl was like, that's a terrible idea. That's a shit idea. Nobody's going to want to do that. Don't pour your time and energy into it. You shouldn't do it, whatever. And Taryn actually listened to her and she put it off for a long time. But it stayed consistent in her brain, buzzing like a bee. Like, I've got to do this thing. And it made her really famous.
Mhm.
Really famous. And the girl got the sour oats, big time. And I asked her on the podcast, I said, and don't tell me who it is. Where is she now? Where is she now? Is she a Taryn Darling? Do we know this person? And she said, you've never heard of her. They don't like you to do better than them.
That's always the case, isn't it? You can do well, but only if you stay under me. And that was cutting that person out of my life is when everything went stratospheric for me. So I realized it wasn't just that she wasn't helping me go forward, she was actually holding me back.
It's true. And sometimes it's not even them holding you back. Like there's someone who I always had in high esteem, who I thought of as like big sister type. I think I even verbally said that to her once. Like, don't you kind of feel like you're up here and I'm down here or whatever? And she was like, no, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like we're here. It wasn't until I got away from being in having that person in my circle all the time. It wasn't until I removed myself that I started to kind of flourish on my own because it was my mindset. I was always thinking you can't usurp the master. You can never do better than so and so. So I would smaller myself all the time. But once I removed and it wasn't anything that she told me or said or did. She wasn't taking opportunities from me. She wasn't telling me you can't. She was actually telling me you can often, but it was my own mentality. I think that holds a lot of people back, but I've never seen that from you ever. You've always been so sure of yourself and of the moves that you're making. And I
Mhm.
think that's why you're also so quick to be actionable. Where's that come from? I mean, you even left home so early. Like you've always been confident.
Really busy. I had stuff to do. Because that sounds like I had a bad home life, and my mum absolutely drove me insane. But I didn't have, I wasn't beaten or starved or anything. I was just incredibly busy. I had things to do. So I moved into Manchester. Grew up in the city. So grew up in the country, wanted to get into the big city, wanted to see, the bright lights of Manchester, and then got there and thought, actually, it's nice for a visit, but I don't really want to live here. And so
Yeah.
then I had to spend 2 years trying to get out. So I've worked from the age of 11. I got a job when I was 11 years old. I don't even know if that's legal. Yeah, I
Um,
ran a cleaning business when I was 11.
your own cleaning business?
Yeah, I had a cleaning business when I was 11. I worked 5 days a week after school. So we just didn't have any money. I grew up poor, not really poverty stricken. I don't want to sit there saying, like I had holes in my shoes or anything. But we didn't have any spare money. We lived in an affluent area, but we were the poorer ones. And my mum just didn't have anything. And if I wanted things, so if I knew that if I had to get things, I was gonna have to work. So I started cleaning people's houses after school with a friend of mine. And by the age of like 14, we had like a full, a full business.
What was your cleaning business called?
I don't even think we had a name for it, but we just had so many, every night after school we would, and that meant that I could like buy music, I could buy CDs or, buy maybe a new pair of trainers or something. So by
I
the
want
time,
you to think about this real quick. I want everyone to just close your eyes and envision this. You come home after a hard day of work and you let the 11-year-old girl in and she starts scrubbing the floor.
yeah, when I think about it now, but to me, it's cemented that in my head that if I want the thing, I have to do the work.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's how my brain works. So if I want my business to grow, I can't just sit and bitch and moan about it. I have to do the thing. And
Yeah.
that's why it's grown so quickly, because I've gone, all right, I just go and do the thing. I don't moan about it. So I think that it is just like a work ethic that I've always had. Now, don't get me wrong, I like kicking back and relaxing, as much as anyone. But yeah, I worked from the age of 11. So I think that's where the entrepreneurial part of me has come from.
So your first year in a beauty business, talk to me about from the moment that you decided to go into the beauty business and then like what were your first moves?
First moves in beauty. That was a tough time actually, because I was sick. I was sick for a long time then, so it didn't take off very well, and I think that affected me for a long time, which is why I'm so fanatical about like magnesium and vitamin D and everything, and I bitch and moan to you all the time to take it.
Oh, I take my magnesium faithfully
I had a severe
because of
vitamin
you.
D deficiency and got flu, and then just couldn't get well again. So I had chronic fatigue. It was almost diagnosed as ME. So that was, I
What's
just,
ME?
I can't remember. It's a big long name, but it means you like not just tired all the time, but like you can't think straight, brain fog. So basically long flu, like long COVID. So I had that for a long time. And it also struck me again when I trained in microblading. So I've
Ooh.
had sort of 3 or 4 major episodes of it in my life. I don't think it's going to happen to me again, because I've medicated myself with vitamin D. So every time I've had COVID, I've been all right. But yeah, I was really poorly with that. So it took me a long time to get things together. But pretty soon I was asked to be a teacher. I think that the woman who trained me in beauty could see that I was a good teacher and that I could explain things well. So that happened pretty quickly, that I became a beauty teacher, and started training other people. And so when I moved into permanent makeup, definitely education was always in my sights.
Yeah. So how long between your first PMU training and the time you became an educator?
Oh, a lot. I left it years, and I left it years on purpose, because I really did feel, how can you teach someone how to color boost someone when you haven't seen your own work come back to you a year later?
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
I think 3 years. I
So
think
many
3 years.
people. In my state, you need to be licensed 4 years before you start educating, but that doesn't mean that people do it, you know? So many people take their first class and they're like, how do I become an educator? In the class, in the first class. I'm like, well, you go and do the thing first. You a year and a half later, okay, well, I'm selling training. Like you haven't seen your own healed work. You haven't seen enough of your own healed work. You don't, what would you do for a color correction? What would you do with scar tissue? What would how do you treat this skin versus that skin? They don't know. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, it was easily 3 years. And I actually kept in touch with the people that had trained me as well. So I think I had a real weird thing of not wanting to step on anyone's toes. Because what happened when I got trained is me and my trainer, this is going to sound really weird, but we kind of fell in love in a friend way. When you meet like your soulmate, but they just happen to be like, a woman, and you're not gonna shag them. But it was like we just kind of fell in love with each other. I was like, you're like me. I think she's the person that kind of pointed out, look, I think you're autistic, because I think I'm autistic. Her son got tested for autism, and she's like, shit, it's come from me. And then she's like, and you're the same. And we kind of, it was like I met someone that I was able to be my fully weird self in front of, and she just loved it. So
You're on the
we,
same wavelength.
oh my gosh, yeah, totally. So we loved each other. I got Jess to be friends with me by stalking her, because I took my
Katie
training.
Schofield, stalker.
Yeah, I stalked her, like fully stalked her, to the point that my husband stepped in and went, "You need to stop this. This is weird."
So what did he think was weird?
Right. So what happened is I trained and then I went straight to Italy on holiday. And I had my manual with me to swat up while I was on holiday. And I kind of posted and said, look, I'm swatting up by the pool today, and tagged her in. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, God, I wish I was in your suitcase. I was like, oh, you kind of are, look. And then I sort of said, oh, you're by the lake today. And then she said, this is so cool. I think you should tag me in every post. So I cut her out with nail scissors. I cut her out and I took her everywhere. I took her to dinner. I took her on a boat. I took her all over this little paper Jess,
Yeah.
paper Jessica.
Like Flat Stanley.
Yeah. And then she messaged me and went, this has been so much fun. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a Facebook notification and she was in Florence with a little paper Katie.
That's so cute. Okay, so because I know you, this is so funny. That's such a cute bit. But if I didn't know you guys, it'd be weird. Are they in, what's going on?
We're not in love. Well, but as
Like
friends,
you're also not promoting anything. So like it's a weird marketing campaign for your friendship that you guys are up to.
we just, and then she's like, look, Katie, here you are with some graffiti. And it was like a massive picture of a penis. And she took me all around
Like
Pisa. And then do you know what we did? We said, do you know, we've had such a good time. Let's go on holiday together. So we'd only met each other in our class. And then we went to Rome on holiday. And that was it. We were like best friends.
my best friend Ariel and I had the same experience where we met each other and instantly like we were not attached at the hip, but it felt like a it felt like walking into your own house, you know? Oh, I'm very at home. You're very comfortable right away. And at first, there was a little weird piece of it, right? And maybe you had this right after your class. So we met on spring break. There were like maybe 80 of us who went on spring break, and we just, whoever got in this room is in that room. So we were in a room with like 8 other people, maybe, and we don't know each other. So but we vibed really well and we started hanging out and we hung out for that entire week. And we were just absolutely playing the part of best friends as if we had been best friends our whole life the entire week that we were wasted at spring break, right? Famously, I walked up to her at this party and I was like, you're the nicest person here. And she said, I'm on drugs. Like famously, she was like, thanks, I'm on drugs, which she never did, but on that one night in spring break. And then a whole friendship blossomed out of it. But then we got back to Lafayette. We got home from Florida. And I was like, I mean, it's almost like dating. Do I call
Mhm.
her? Are we going to actually hang out? Like, was this a one-time thing? Is this sustainable? And the first time we were home, I was like, we should go out for drinks tonight. Do you want to go to Agave or wherever we went? And she said, yeah. And as we sat down at the table, it was awkward, even though we just spent an intensive like 10 days together. I was like, hey, it's like so awkward. But then after that, once it felt the same as it did on spring break, after that dinner, never again. I mean, she is, my kids' fake godmother and everything. Just in my wedding, I was in her wedding. I did her wedding. I was the officiant for her wedding. We're that close. But did it feel a little awkward after
Yeah.
class?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, are we actually going to be friends? Or am I feeling something here that she's not feeling? Because I'm feeling like we
Yeah.
really hit it off.
And it feels so weird because it's like dating a little bit.
Hmm.
It's exactly like you're expressing. Like it's not like you're attracted to that person. You're attracted to their vibe, like being around them. But it almost feels like little kids trying to figure out like, are we friends? I felt that way the first time you and I hung out because we had this very formal relationship of being coach and student, handshake, handshake, nice to see you, even though we were very casual in our meetings. But that was a very like defined container. I see you
Hmm.
for 30 minutes every week on this Zoom call. And then, maybe we message about business and that's it. But the first time that we actually saw each other in person, I was kind of like, oh, hey, high five, hug, high five, handshake, hi.
You yelled at me the first time you met me. Get in the fucking car.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you picked me up in New Orleans.
That
I
was that
just,
the first time we met in person?
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even stop the car.
no.
You were in a rough
Oh,
neighborhood and I was in a Porsche. So
yeah, you
I,
went,
I remember
Steve.
I lifted the tailgate and I yelled, I didn't even know the man. I rolled down my window and I yelled, Steve, throw our bags in.
He just ran off putting the bags in and then they had to set off. But
What
just
did
so
I
you
tell
know,
you? What
though,
did I tell you?
just that was I thought we would like might hug or whatever, but you were just like, get in the fucking car.
We're not
Just
stop. We're not stopping.
Just so you know, though, because we've just seen each other recently, I've just been over for Mardi Gras. Little Paper Jess and Paper Katie were in my purse the whole time.
Stop. Oh my God, that's so cute. Did you send her anything?
Yeah. Like,
Did
look,
she come to the ball? Did she come to our Mardi Gras
yeah,
ball?
she
How
did.
cute. What did I yell at you? There's it's like a quote and you say it. I said we're not stopping. What did I say?
We ain't stopping till Baton Rouge. That was it. Get in the fucking car. We ain't stopping till Baton Rouge. And I was like, hi, nice to meet you.
There's none of that. There's none of that.
Not
No,
anymore.
no. When did I feel so
But you were
awkward?
asking me about training, and I
Yeah,
felt because I was so close to Jess, I felt a bit weird going, I want to do what you're doing and become your competition,
right,
essentially.
right.
Although she's over on the coast near Liverpool and I'm in the middle, we're not each other's competition. So for a while I kind of like, oh, I don't know how I address this. And she's just like, oh my God, you dick. Of course I want you to do this. This is my success. You are my success story. I tell everyone about you.
Yeah.
And the same with Alexandra Manusha, who owned the company. She's just been like continuously supportive of me. So I just feel like I had a really nice, easy ride up until like my friend tried to get me shut down for tattooing with the dog.
That's some bullshit. But
Yeah.
you know what? It's just a testament to that you're actually making waves. You're actually growing and being big. To me, you're a big fish because I see the growth that you have and I see the amount of people I have to approve to get into permanent excellence. And they're all like worshiping you like you're a celebrity. They're like, oh my God, I came from Katie's YouTube. I came from Katie's YouTube. I came from Katie's YouTube. I came from YouTube. Everybody knows you on YouTube. If you're searching permanent makeup and you want to learn things on YouTube, Katie Schofield is your first educator or, your first online educator. And it's crazy to me how people outside of YouTube just don't know who you are. It's like walking into a party and then you walk outside and it's quiet. It's like the weirdest thing. I'm going back to the party.
I found it weird because people recognized me in America. That was weird.
Yeah.
Really strange when people go, I know who you are. You're the shoe video girl. And I'm like, okay.
And you are the shoe video
I
girl.
am the shoe
And
video.
that's a really good metaphor that you used. Shay was really impressed with that.
Yeah, it is how my head works. And I think that has always been my thing. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but putting things in a way that people go, oh, okay, that's easy. Because
Yeah.
that my brain breaks things down. And so that's how I've always been attracted to educating people because I want to make things easy for people to understand.
Love that. I like your dedication, and maybe this comes from the way, like your brain working differently than everyone else's, but I like your dedication to making sure that you're at someone's level. You always speak to them at their own level. So wherever they are, you go and meet them. You're like, okay, I'm going to put this in terms that you understand. You do it with me all the time. I tell you, you have to tell me like I'm a child. You have to take me step by step through something. It's not that I'm less intelligent. It's that my brain just works that way. I need you to take me from A, B, C, D to E. You can't tell me A, okay, here's E. I need to hear the whole why behind things like a child.
But that is how you get success on YouTube. Because if you go there, the big I am, I'm this, I'm that, it won't cut it on there. It won't
Well,
cut. And
we're watching that.
that's why Instagram is very different. It's all people on there going, this is me marketing myself. And on YouTube, it's like, how can I help you? And it's very, very different. And that's why I've succeeded on there. And other
Yeah.
people are not doing as well.
Okay, so I have been doing a little YouTube research and I'm looking at other people who educate on skill set just like you. And there are some people who are doing really well. But I find that a lot of their better works that got lots of engagement and probably awarded them lots of subscribers were in 2021. So right after pandemic, people probably started their business during pandemic, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe with pandemic money, or maybe just because they had the downtime off work. Then in 2021, they're like, okay, I got to make this work. So they were looking for education for free instead of taking another class, another class, another class. And so it was almost probably a little easier in 2021 to make an audience for yourself educating. But you're doing it here in 2024 and you're doing really well. And new videos from those older artists in 2024 are not doing as well. So I don't think it's strategy for them at all. I think it was just dumb luck. But for you, it's clearly strategy because the opportunity isn't as wide as it was 3 years ago.
It's not
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's not as wide everywhere. I think you hear the same on Instagram, you hear it on Facebook, and it is the same on YouTube. It isn't as easy as it was had you started 3, 4 years ago, but no one has a time machine. And I still think that the opportunities on YouTube are something that gets vastly overlooked in our industry from big artists. I mean, gosh, I was speaking to someone who's very, very well known, and I just went, you YouTube shit.
Yeah.
And she went, just please sort it out for me, please. I was like, it's shit, man. That's, you're not perform. How can you have 70,000 Instagram followers and it not be performing for you? Like live, I did it on a coaching call. Your Instagram, your YouTube shit.
I was on that
But
call, right?
I don't know. You know who I mean. Maybe you don't.
There's two people it could be. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
is it this one or is that one? But I think I know which one it is. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard it in Girls Alive. You being like, okay, she gave me her login. I'm looking at the back end and like I can fix this real quick, but what she's doing is shit. And here's why. It's always a lesson. It's not just shit talking. I like that about you though. I like that I like a little gossip. You know me. I like a little gossip. But you always gossip for a cause. So it makes me feel better about being a gossip. You gossip and we learn a lesson, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's because I'm passionate about it. But I think the thing from me is knowing that I know what I'm talking about. Like a lot of people think they know what they talk about, and I think that was why I didn't push myself as quickly as an educator in permanent makeup, because you really want to know that you do know what you're talking about. You don't want to be the person that everyone's going, no, actually, that's incorrect. We don't want to be that. So with YouTube, it's having these things, and it's tried and tested for me. It's like if I
Yeah.
do that, this happens, and it's repeatable. And to the point that I go, if you do that, it'll work for you as well. Um, and we're seeing it.
Yeah. Oh, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, we're skyrocketing. Our whole YouTube group is skyrocket. The beta testers for this class are skyrocketing. Quick question. Permanent jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
You have also become a leader in educating permanent jewelry. And now, Eternal Bond is sweeping. It's got all these other instructors and people are dying to take the class. And how did you decide, okay, I'm ready to add something new on to my permanent makeup services?
That was a hard one because I was pretty focused on where I was going. I had my map of where I was going, and that wasn't in it. And it was just purely from having it done. And the reason that I decided to take it on was purely from having Nicole. So Nicole is who works with me. And Nicole is a permanent makeup artist, but she's not as busy as I am. And so she was like, I will help with this more because I can do more of this while you can't. If you give me your expertise and insights on running the business, I will do more of the actual donkey work of it. And it was only because of Nicole that I thought to take it on. And we just thought, it'll be a nice little add-on. You know what I mean? We've got a little space. Like we had no idea of the juggernaut it was going to become.
Yeah, I've watched Nicole get overwhelmed and you guys toying with the idea of like, we need to hire, we need to hire. I still have mine on. Are you proud of me?
I love that you do because we have matchy matching bestie jewelry. Can you believe
Taylor
it?
too. We got ours done together, you know. She doesn't have the pearl.
Yeah.
But we had them done at the exact same time and we said like, oh, look, we're twins.
But you know what I love about permanent jewelry, which I didn't really think about because I saw the business opportunity really, is the fact it's really good fun. It really is good fun, but also it's a bit of light relief because let's be honest, we've got color theory, needle selection. How is it going to heal? Clients' expectations. Is it going to bleed? What technique am I using? This is going, which chain do you want? Do
Yeah.
you want something
You
sparkly?
want the pretty one?
You want the pretty one? And that actually, and everyone that comes is excited and happy. And it's kind of been a little bit of light relief to what for us is quite, I'm not going to say a stressful business, but there's a lot riding on us getting it right, a tattoo on your face.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just been something, and it's managed to open us up to a slightly wider audience. So we've got a different ideal client. I know we talk about marketing to your ideal clients. We've got a different ideal client. We've also got a different ideal student, and it gets us a lot of lash artists, nail artists, people like that, or jewelry makers as well. So it's kind of just put us in front of a whole different audience.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's more potential clients because you're pulling from lots of industries and people are looking to add on services to kind of bolster their books a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're really busy with doing permanent makeup. Your books are full. You're really busy with teaching permanent makeup. You guys do permanent jewelry and you teach permanent jewelry. You have your own podcast. You are the founder of VIPMU Coaching, which takes also hours of your time every week. Now you're going on these speaking engagements, like you're going to be in Bali, you're a coach in Indonesia, you've come here to the US, and now you have a shop. Now you have an online shop.
Too.
For somebody who didn't really care about the money, you sure stumbled into a bunch of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Shay says the same thing. Shay's like, I don't even know how much I make. I don't ever look at the money. I don't. Blair, her husband, handles all the paperwork, all the spreadsheets, but she just prints money.
I feel very similar in I know we're kind of different personalities, me and Shay, but I feel very similar to Shay in watching her work, because I've managed to spend some time with Shay. She's excited for the process. She gets
Yeah.
really excited by the process and the growth. And that's me. Because of my sort of slightly neurodiverse brain, you need to keep me constantly entertained. And if there's no growth, if I'm stagnating, just like, so my last business, my beauty business was full all the time. I was full all the time. I even had like people coming from the royal household. I was that good
Yeah.
at my job. But I couldn't make any proper money and I was fully booked. And it's like, well, there's nowhere to go. There's literally no room. So it's boring to me because, you know, to everybody else, you've made it. But to me, that's like, well, every day is the same. Everything's boring, you know. So this is why I love YouTube so much, because I've gamified it. Every day there's more subscribers, or my growth increases, or my money increases. It's like a game. And I think that that's how I see the process. I need to feel constantly stimulated by it. And the money is a great add-on. I'm not saying I don't want to be rewarded for my time. Of course I do, but it's not the driving force. The driving force is the growth and seeing things, seeing a process through start to finish.
I have to tell you, since I've taken your YouTube course, this is not a plug. You can't even buy her YouTube course yet anyway.
You have to
Um,
be invited.
yeah, and listen, I didn't even pay for it. We're best friends, and so I'm like a beta student and we're working through this course. I'm telling you, since I have taken your YouTube course and I'm seeing my growth, it's like being a young kid in puppy love. It's so exciting. You're like, it's that little rush of adrenaline you used to get from new subscriber, new subscriber. I'm getting it again. And it like it's watching the cake be made, you know? It's so exciting to say, when I add this ingredient, watch what happens. Oh my God, when I do this, watch what happens. Oh, I'm so excited to drop this one because I know it's going to happen. And then it happens and it's so gratifying. I have fallen back in love with creating and posting content. And YouTube is far different from Instagram in the way that you do it and in the way that it attracts people. And then what you do with the leads is even different than Instagram. It's actually a little less labor intensive. So, I mean, the editing and stuff is not, but the back end of it is different. It's been so much fun, like a renewal in the business. It feels like we're back, but I don't think that we ever left. You know what I mean? It's like this electric new thing. It's so exciting right now.
It's a new relationship for you. And for me, who taught you this, because obviously for a long time, I'm like, you need to do that. You need to do that. But I needed you to be ready. And then when you did it, watching you get so excited is just pure joy for me. It's pure joy. I keep going,
The
I know, right?
student became the master.
I know, right? It's so exciting. But do you not think that with like a lot of the way that other socials have gone, that people are, it feels like trying to put some spark in a dead relationship. We're all on Instagram
Oh,
going,
dude, it's
oh,
exhausting.
fine.
We're
And then,
zombies. Everybody on Instagram is a zombie.
but it feels like just like trying to kick some life into a marriage that's dead, you know, like,
I wish someone would kick me. I need to feel something over on Instagram.
and I feel like that's just like, my Instagram is great and it gets me clients and I
Great
can,
place to talk to people.
it's a great place. I try to funnel people from my YouTube into my Instagram so that I can talk to them and nurture them and make business relationships with them, you know, and help them. That's what I want to do. You can't do it as easily on YouTube. But basically that's all it is. It's like, just go to my other room and chat to me,
Yeah.
in. But
YouTube's top of funnel for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the biggest funnel for VIPMU. That's where we get people into coaching, is from my YouTube.
If you were a brand new permanent makeup artist, just graduated from your class today, what would be the first 3 moves you made for your business right now in 2024?
Straight away, coaching. Straight away. That would be the biggest thing, is to get coaching on building your business, getting your models. And because I think that what happens is people flounder And then they come for help a year, maybe 2 years down the line, going, this really isn't working. I've put everything into this. And then you've got to undo all the terrible moves that they've made. So I think,
And you're not going to get the money back that you spent trying other things.
no, I think go into that straight away, because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the right ideas, you can waste so much time and so much money. So I would definitely get into either an apprenticeship or a mentorship straight away, because having someone walk that with you is just just the best thing. The second thing, don't use organic highly pigmented pigments straight away, would be my second piece of advice.
If you've been in business less than 2 years, do not buy Skills pigments from me.
No, but my God, they're good.
They're so good.
I love those.
So good. But you have to be as good as the pigments, okay? So if you're not that good yet, these brows are going to be there forever. This eyeliner is never leaving. So shout out Skills. It is my favorite eyeliner pigment of all time, but I am not putting it in my students' kits.
No way. They need, but so I would say stick to inorganic until you know that your depth is right. Absolutely. Because
biotech.
No one wants to be faced with the mistakes that they made. You want something that fades. Because we all do terrible brows. Well, less than great brows in the beginning. So that would be my second piece of advice. Third piece of advice, don't listen to advice in forums.
Oh my God, we get some terrible advice. We get terrible advice in Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Why don't you like Facebook group advice?
Because I think that's been a real frustration for me, because what I wanted was a place to nurture people. And I actually set up a Facebook group going, oh, you can post your group in there and you will always get really good advice, and we'll help you. And it's a place to be nurtured. And we don't have any nested vipers in there. You're going to, everyone will be nice, but we'll tell you straight. And then as that group grew and grew and grew, everyone else started giving advice. And some of I don't mind
a handle on it.
I don't mind people giving shit advice, but don't do it with my face attached.
Yeah. It's hard to keep, as the group grows, it's great because it means that there's lots of brand awareness going on. People trust you and they want to be in your space, in your container, and learn things from you. But it's hard to keep a handle on 1,000 people in a Facebook group.
Yeah. And I think that I find that frustrating, because I think that's probably the perfection.
Some of them,
yeah.
And some of them don't have great training. So the advice that they're giving, and you don't know it's like, I gave this example the other day and it's stuck with me. I think I'm going to use it in coaching now forever, because I'll never think of another thing. It's like, if your options were to invest in your Roth IRA or to invest in the stock market, and you wanted to know where to put your money, it's like walking into Walmart and saying, what should I do? The first person to answer you, you're like, that's what I'll do. What qualifies them to give you that answer? Facebook groups, you don't know who's answering you. You don't know if they're good or not. You don't know if they even do brows or not. You have no idea if they've ever worked with Tina's line or not. You don't know. There's no qualifying in there. It's just somebody spurting out and just talking shit from the corner.
But there's something about the written word that has power with people, and because they saw it written down, they think it's true. And I think that sometimes that feels like putting out fires for me, when everyone's going, you're not deep enough, go deeper. And I'm like, it's the last thing you want to do. Yeah. The last thing. Oh my God. Yeah. And there really isn't, as you mentioned, all the things I've got going, there really isn't the time to commit, because that's like a full-time job, just monitoring Facebook.
Dude, it's out of control. That reminds me, we need to talk to Sarah today. Okay. And just for fun, because I love the way that your brain works, what are your top 3 conspiracies right now?
Do you know what? I was never a conspiracy theorist, but do you know when they keep coming true? So, top 3 conspiracies. Well, I've been researching the fact that the uber rich are going to bankrupt the planet.
Oh.
So that's happening. I was listening to some evidence on that. So the uber rich. So I've got like a real intention on that. My nephews are only 6 and 9, and they really want to do a YouTube channel because they think it's really cool. And I'm like, I want you to do a YouTube channel so you've got business.
Yeah.
That you can earn in money like now. That's like, because I really think that by the time they're older, things will be much more difficult for them. So that's my whole thing of like, there's like just a few billionaires that are going to own everything. I don't know what other conspiracy theories I have,
Well,
really.
you're in the UK, so let me ask you about this one. There's a theory. There are two fun theories about the royal family right now. Okay. And I think one of them's bullshit, and I think one of them's interesting. So
Mhm.
which do you want first? Bullshit or interesting?
Bullshit.
Okay. Do you know who Trisha Paytas is?
No.
She's a YouTuber. She's been around for a decade, 2 decades, something like that. She had a baby. I don't know how long ago this was, but what it's Googleable. She had a baby, and she didn't tell anyone until she was like very pregnant. And then right before she had the baby, she was like, "It's a girl, I'm gonna have a baby." Queen Elizabeth died, and then her baby was born. And I don't know why, but everyone on the internet decided that Queen Elizabeth reincarnated in this lady's baby. I don't know why. And the baby's name is Malibu Barbie. And they announced that the king has cancer, and Trisha Paytas announced she's having a son, and people are losing. They're like, "Oh, it's happening again." Every time Trisha has a baby, it's the royal family.
Well, there's the whole thing over here that people think that the royal family are lizards. You know that they're
Dude,
lizards.
if King Charles dies right before Trisha has this baby, I'll
Yeah.
be convinced. But I don't know. So
I just don't.
the other
Yeah.
theory is that he will not die, or he might die, but it's that it won't be death that takes him from the throne. Nostradamus apparently predicted 450 years ago that Charles would abdicate.
Maybe.
And Will's, they made a big statement about Will's stepping up yesterday, and he's going to take over some of the duties while King Charles is out. Is this the first footstep to abdicating? How accurate do you think Nostradamus has been, and how much of that do you think is us making things fit a narrative?
I think that we fit it around our narrative because I mean I know that he's been like there's a lot of things that he has predicted, but I mean I don't know, I'm not really that bothered about the royal family. I know that everyone
Hmm.
out there is. I'm a punk rocker. I don't agree with people ruling over other people. I certainly don't like me being told what to do by anyone. That's why I've not worked for anyone else for 25 years.
I
Um,
think oh, sorry, go ahead. Were you
but I
expanding?
like Harry. I like Harry because he's a little bit renegade. I know you guys are a bit tired of Harry and Meghan, but I always liked Harry because he was kind of the bad one. You know, he never towed the line, and so I always liked that about him.
Yeah, he's a fun frat boy, right? Or he
Yeah.
was. I mean, now he's an adult, married with a baby. I think that it's interesting because I like to see how much marketing and social media influences people's opinions on things. And the more people make what seems to be history lesson videos on TikTok about the royal family, like way back in, not even just Elizabeth and them, but I've been seeing all this stuff on the Tudors and Henry VIII and all this stuff. The more people just take it as fact. I've never researched it. I have no idea if she's telling me the truth or if she's making it up. I don't know. And when they started mentioning Nostradamus, the History Channel's been talking about Nostradamus for years. And they really make things seem so much more, it's almost like clickbait. They make things way more intense or way more dramatic than actually were. And I think that a lot of times they're taking facts and making them fit into what Nostradamus said so that it looks like, you see, he was some kind of magician or something. He could see what the future. We do that in permanent makeup. I see permanent makeup marketers making predictions and calls for the market, and they actually panic people more than they were. Like last year, people were saying, "Oh, the crash is coming. The economy is going to dump. You need to make sure your business is ready to go now. You need to save your money now." Do you remember? If I remember, I know you remember. The very start of the pandemic, the very start of the pandemic, people were really flailing because
Mhm.
I'm shut down now. What do I do? There was a very successful permanent makeup marketer who was going to teach you to market your business and grow and scale your business and all the rest, who said, get all the money you can together right now. That's not bad advice. But then this person said, take out loans, max your credit cards, make sure that you have as much money liquid as possible. And that's terrible advice. This person was so sure that, everything was going to crash and it was going to go terribly that this person was saying, get all the money you can, put it all in one pot, have it on hand. People were listening. Can you
Mhm.
imagine if right before you were closed for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in California, you took out a giant loan or you maxed out all your credit cards at 26% interest? because someone you don't know in a Facebook group told you this was a good move?
That's what I say.
Bro,
Don't take advice from people in Facebook groups unless it's us.
we are so easily influenced. It's
Aren't we?
crazy. And it's the only place that we get news or information or opinions now is social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Mm.
people are so much more opinionated, aren't they, as well? I'm quite okay about not having an opinion on things. I've realized that not everything needs my opinion or input.
Katie, if people want completely unbiased, factual, skill-based education, where can they find you?
First place, if you're looking for skills advice, then go to my YouTube, which is at PMU Mentor. If you want us to help you, then you should consider applying to VIPMU. You can find us on Instagram at VIPMU Mentor. You can find me on Instagram, Katie_Schofield_, or you can generally find me roaming in the woods.
Scavenging.
Scavenging.
I'll never live that down.
On a business meeting, Victoria Racker introduced me as a scavenger. Katie is a scavenger. Katie is a forager. I forage for wild food. I am not a scavenger. Things are not that bad.
Scabbers.
Imagine you think I pick up roadkill or something.
Oh my God, I have to pee. Okay, you guys, I will see you back here on the Glam Life podcast next week. Bye, Katie. I love you.